Ho, ho, ho! I'm Ed, this is the Rock Gut Review, and Merry Christmas! Or actually, it's not Christmas yet. We have 1 week left. But if you're anything like me, you haven't even started Christmas shopping. But don't worry, I can help you with that. I've got a great list of gifts for the whiskey drinker in your life. If the people you're buying for don't like whiskey, I'm sorry, I got nothing. You're SOL. But first, I'll tell you what's not on the list. Any super rare, expensive, allocated whiskeys that you're never gonna find in a million years, and you're only gonna piss off store clerks by asking for. Find out more about that in this video. Also not on this list are whiskey stones. Nobody wants whiskey stones. Don't buy anyone whiskey stones. They're the worst. They just chip glasses and teeth. What is on the list are some more readily available whiskeys and some non-alcoholic options for the drinker in your life. Speaking of non-alcoholic options, let's start with number 6. Books! I'm actually pretty sure all of these books are things I've received for Christmas gifts in the past few years. If the whiskey lover in your life is a big old nerd like me, I bet you they'll love to get a book and find out more about their favorite beverage. There are books about every single kind of whiskey. We've got The Dead Rabbit's Barley to Blarney, a guide to whiskey in Ireland. We've got Whiskey Classified by Dave Wishart for the single malt Scotch aficionado in your life. And if someone's way into Canadian whiskey, we've got Canadian Whiskey by Davin de Kergemu, or as is known in the industry, DDK. Actually, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who calls him that. But for the super whiskey nerd, look no further than The Terroir of Whiskey by Dr. Rob Arnold. This book is awesome. Now, I will say, you gotta love science, because a lot of this is chemistry. So if the person's not a super nerd about whiskey and they're just looking for something a little bit lighter, this might not be for them. But for the hardcore person, oh, this is the bomb. I learned more about the chemistry of whiskey from this book than I think I have from any other. The nice thing is there are so many whiskey books available these days. I mean, I went to Barnes & Noble the other day. They have a whole rack just of whiskey books. I'm sure you can find something that fits the taste of someone you love. Alright, but what if the person you're buying for isn't a big reader, right? Well, that's why we have number 5. Sick-ass glassware. Now, pretty much any liquor store worth their salt these days will have some sort of whiskey tasting glass. Usually Glencairns, which are these nice tulip-shaped ones. However, for this entry, we're kicking it up a notch. These are blind tasting glasses. So, for someone who's, again, nerdy like me, I like to judge a whiskey without knowing what it is. That way you can figure out if you like it just based on taste and smell. And the nice thing about these opaque glasses is you can't see the color. You can't guess what's in there. That's great. And they look cool as hell. These are Teeling branded ones, but you can find them with your specific brand or just a blank opaque glass. A good option for the person who's really diving into the sensory experience of whiskey. Alright, but let's get into what you really came here for. Whiskey recommendations. Let's start with one of the hottest types of whiskey in the world today, bourbon. This right here is Maker's 46 cask strength, and oh boy, do I love this stuff. And I usually prefer rye to bourbon, but this stuff, this is awesome. This is so sweet and spicy. You get cherry, you get baking spices, it's got the cinnamon, it's got the woodiness. Oh, I love it. So this is a nice gift because it is a little bit more limited, a little bit more expensive than your regular Makers. However, if you don't want to pony up for this guy, there are other great options in the Makers line, including regular cask strength Makers and non-cask strength Makers 46. These are such awesome products, and they have such a wide appeal to bourbon lovers and other kinds of whiskey drinkers as well. But speaking of rye, how about a little Stellum rye? This is actually my breakout rye of the year. I didn't think it was going to be as awesome as it is. This is from the same folks who make barrel spirits. Usually they do a lot of crazy finishing, but for this guy, they just try to make an awesome straight rye. And it's really awesome. I mean, you gotta like rye to like this. It's spicy, it's black licoricey, it's dilly. It's got all the stuff I really love. But if you're more of a person who likes a smoother, more easygoing whiskey, it might not be for you. However, you can make a hell of a Manhattan with it. Now what about all those Irish drinkers out there? Well, Teeling. Now this is Teeling Small Batch. It's a blended whiskey finished in rum casks. Gives it a little bit more of that bittersweet from the rum mixed with that nice honeyed Irish character. This is a slightly higher end Irish, but it's not gonna break the bank. It's reasonably priced and it's excellent. Nice healthy proof, big flavor. The Irish drinker in your life will definitely love this. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I got this one as a gift for my brother-in-law too, so there you go. But what if you gotta buy some scotch? Some single malt scotch. And not just any old single malt scotch whiskey. Peaty scotch whiskey. That can be a scary thing for some people to try and buy for somebody. They're like, well, it all just tastes like smoke and earth. I don't know which one's good. Let me tell you which one's good. Kilchoman. Oh man, do I love me some Kilchoman. For the peat aficionado in your life, you can't go wrong with Kilchoman. This is some of the biggest, boldest, smokiest whiskey out there. Now, depending on what's available in your area, you might not be able to find these particular bottles. This is a Fino Sherry and a PX Sherry. And both of these are excellent, by the way. The Fino is more of a dry, yeasty kind of deal, and the PX is a smoke bomb wrapped in a huge amount of dried fruit. It's incredibly flavorful. But if these particular ones aren't available in your area, or you'd like to spend a little less money, there's a few others in the core range that are also super awesome. Makir Bay is fantastic, Loch Gorham is fantastic, Sanag is fantastic. The difference being what kind of casks they were finished in. You've got your bourbon cask, you've got your sherry cask. If you can find out what the Scotch drinker in your life prefers, bourbon versus sherry, you can make a good guess. But that has been my 6 last-minute gifts for the whiskey drinker in your life. Hope you enjoyed the list. Please feel free to leave comments down below with any other wonderful gift ideas. And before you leave, make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and find me on the other social medias and whatnot. But most importantly, make sure to stay healthy, stay safe, and stay rotten.